Hello everyone, welcome to our final episode in our AFL club-by-club draft analysis, looking at the Western Bulldogs, a team that's been there or thereabouts for many, many years under Luke Beveridge. We're going to have a look at what areas of their list they need to strengthen and some potential targets. We'll move on to the Western Bulldogs now. From my point of view, it's interesting looking at what they need. I think there's two clear targets for them, so defenders and small forwards. So from a small forwards point of view, we know Cody Waitman's missed the year with injury, and unfortunately that has kept dragging on, but he'll be back in 2026, fingers crossed, touch wood. But he's not that traditional small forward, and neither is Riley West. They have the ability to take marks off front and centre small forward, so that, yes, we know how reliable Norton and Darcy are, and they're contested marking types, but if it is coming to ground level, if you have someone there who's able to kick some front and centre goals, a la Charlie Cameron, a la someone like we'll talk about some of the players in this draft class, but someone like a Nick Watson or a Jack Inovan, then that's going to make them really, really scary, more than they already are.
Yeah, I mean, the targets in the air are clearly going to be Darcy and Norton and
Croft on the weekends.
That's right. So they're fine in that sense, and the ball's not going to hit the deck a lot, but it's not going to get channeled through some of those smaller guys too much. They're going to have to be at the feet. Those tall guys are going to draw multiple defenders. They're going to create spills. They're going to get those opportunities. And as you say, I mean, Riley West, who's played a bit forward with some effect, is another one who's more of the lead mark player. Yep. If you look at, say, Jamie Elliott as the prototype of the lead mark small forward who's very good overhead for his size, they've got a lot of those types of forwards. So and Waitman, another one of those where he would kick probably the majority of his goals lead mark.
Yeah.
That's one area. In terms of backs, Rory Lobb was thrown back with some effect. Liam Jones, clearly a senior player, but they concede scores. Made the observation, and again, they've got a game to play where they're playing for their season in the final round, but they've got the highest percentage. If they were to miss the 8, they would have the highest percentage ever of a team that missed the finals.
Yeah.
So they've got no problems scoring, and clearly that indicates that when they lose narrow.
Yeah.
But when they lose to those, the top-end sides. It's Collingwood that's beaten them. It's Geelong. It's Brisbane. It's the Gold Coast in Darwin, those sorts of matchups. And it's probably just that ability of those better sides to take some things off you that they don't quite have defensively. Yep. So, they're definitely a side that would only be one or two notches away from challenging for a title. So, they would certainly be more specific in their targets than West Coast. And I think you've hit the nail on the head. Key position backs, certainly not forwards.
Yep.
And then small crumbing forwards.
Yep. I think a few of those small crumbing forwards in this draft class. So you've got Taylor Byrne, who's really rocketed up boards with his national championships, in particular that last game against Vic Metro, which was so impressive. Tom Matthews has been a little bit out of sight, out of mind, but could be a later selection. Lockie Doverston, if they were to use a higher selection on a small forward and go for that needs basis, given we've talked about how significant it probably is for them to get that. And then also Zane Piker, probably seen as a second round prospect out of South Australia. And we've talked extensively about the fact that just with key defenders this year, there's probably not a whole lot of them in this draft class. Harry Dean, the standout, obviously tied to Carlton. So maybe the Western Bulldogs will have to think laterally or try and find a diamond in the rough there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think from other clubs which way they could go in a sense, because if you were to draft a key back when it might take 3 years,
and that's the thing, they're probably in the window now.
Yeah, that's right. And by then, Jones is retired, Lobb's probably gone, or close to it, and then by then you might be running out of chances. Bontempelli, Liberatore, etc., getting older through the middle. So they're best served to go and find one somewhere. But as for who that is from another club, that's the challenge.
Absolutely.
I mean, maybe if you look at someone like, I know Lika Lear linked to the Saints, for example, but that type of player who you might be able to go and grab.